Hopefully we move someone without touching them.
I think people need to do things that scare the shit out of them.
That's what it's all about.
Becoming Player One is a reservoir of stories and experience. It's a promise to show up for ourselves so that we can show up for others.
Because it's the most annoying part of the job.
Yeah. And it's why it's like a full-time job on like Indeed and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so social media and entrepreneurship, that's probably a great way to start a podcast.
Sure.
Let me turn to the camera.
Yeah.
Hello everybody, welcome to episode 3, I believe, of Becoming Player One. I'm here today with Amanda Kowalski, the Petite Aesthetician. So today's gonna be a lot of skincare, a lot of hydration, and I'm just really excited to have her on. So Amanda, thank you so much.
No problem, it's such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, Amanda and I work together doing kind of a commercial for her business, and as soon as I thought to myself, let's do a podcast about growth and just being the best version of yourself, this woman is one of the first people I thought of. So like, this is awesome, I can't wait. Let's just dive right into it.
Yeah, let's go.
Amanda just recently moved her space into a bigger, just tell me about the new space that you guys are in, I guess.
So this is our 4th year of business. I started back in 2020 when things just weren't as certain.
Yeah.
And we were in our lovely first space for, a solid 3.5 years. I loved her so much.
It was an awesome space.
It was an awesome space. But then I was presented with this space right next door. And I was like, okay, easy to move and everything. And then I went and I looked, and like the flow of the whole space just worked with what we were trying to do. And I said,
this is it, yeah.
If I don't take this chance now, it's probably going to pass me by and I'll have to wait a long time and I'll have to be in that.
Who knows how long you'll be here, yeah.
So we moved and we are in a space now that has 4 rooms as opposed to 2.
Okay, cool.
I have 3 of those rooms filled, and I have somebody to fill that 4th one eventually.
When you say filled, you mean estheticians working?
Yeah.
Nice, awesome.
Mm-hmm. And the layout of it is just wonderful. All my girls are just happy, and I'm so happy. And the vibe is like, the aesthetic of it is so different, and it's almost like it's the adult version of the Petite
different because the Petite Aesthetician V1.
Yeah.
The aesthetic was amazing.
It was amazing, but it was light and bright.
It was light and bright, airy. Okay, those are all good adjectives to describe it. So what is it now? If you could pick 3.
Moody.
Okay.
Woodsy.
I like that. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and a little bit more relaxing. Dim. It's warm. It's cozy.
I can't wait to see it, and I love that we're having this conversation now where I actually have no idea what it looks like.
You have no idea.
I'm going to swing by. Yeah, as soon as I can, I'm going to swing by. So cool. Good stuff.
Yeah, she is a beaut. The mall has just been evolving so much since we moved in.
Cool, yeah.
We ended up getting a new landlord, and he really took the place and made it more welcoming and just more beautiful to look at and more inviting. And he really does get the other business owners to just form this like community. So we're really friendly all in the mall and everything, but we got this holiday competition coming up, and
I love it.
They should be a little scared.
Yeah. I hope you guys win, and I can't wait to see what the place looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Lean into the woodsy side of Christmas.
The woodsy side of Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a book by Amanda Kowalski.
Right. Oh, that's my next thing.
Speaking of your next thing, when we spoke earlier this month, you were talking about you might have up and coming estheticians that you're training. Something about Do you mind diving into that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I just onboarded. So my receptionist that was with us for a year, she already held an aesthetics license, and I brought her on with the intention to move her into aesthetics. So after the year, Emily's schedule she's my other girl. Her schedule looks great. I said, this is your time, babe. So before that, I had spent a lot of time just hands-on training her. I would pull her in for just skin analyses and talking to her about why I'm choosing certain products, or show it. She was already like a master waxer, so it was really facials that we leaned into with the training. And then when her day came, I said, babe, this is your room, fly little birdie. And
in the sense that she can now, go get your own clients, make it your own.
Yeah, she is now in the process of building her own schedule. Cool. So we're working on now just making sure that she gets the retention from clients, and that's how her training shifted from aesthetics into, just the schedule of it all, and making sure that she gets nice and busy and she feels confident in what she's doing, and, she's putting it out there. Now I did get another receptionist to replace her, and my receptionist also holds an aesthetics license.
You got like a little entrepreneur factory going. That's awesome.
I kind of it was like, all right, this is how it works for me. I've worked in a ton of places where
Right.
you have a week of training, 3 days on in-person training, and then 3 days by yourself, and they leave you to whack somebody.
Right.
And
Alone,
you're,
so to
and you're
speak.
scared. And I never want to like do that to somebody. And Lauren is my receptionist that will be moving into aesthetics eventually, and she's a brand new baby SD.
Awesome.
She's only been licensed for 4 years. Emily and Allie, they have about 8 to 10 years under their belt.
Wow.
So I'm
Nice.
really excited to take Lauren
Sure,
and
sure.
help her create her career. So she actually, I digress. She has a cosmetology license, which
Lauren does.
yes, which is everything. But she
Okay.
wants to get more into holistic skincare.
Okay.
So when somebody is going from a cosmetology license just to specialize in something, like that's really like unique. Like a lot of people don't do that, and they don't say like, this is what I want to do. They just go into hair because they think, and nothing against that. But
Can you speak to kind of the certifications? You said cosmetology. That's kind of an overarching cert,
yes,
and
so
then
they
you
can
can
do everything.
specialize.
Yes,
Cool.
yes.
Because I have some people that I work with now, actually, and I'm just going to skip down to the bottom here on this one.
Mm-hmm.
They are in the very early stages of, I think they're like college girls getting their licenses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I know an esthetician.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait to have this conversation with you. Like, could you maybe speak to the audience about getting into professional skincare and kind of what your options are as far as certifications, specializations, and kind of how you got into it, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, so you can either go to get your full-blown cosmetology license, which I didn't do. I went to school later in life, and I knew that I just wanted to do skincare. So you can break it down, and you can go to school for just aesthetics, just barbering, just nail tech. But cosmetology is everything.
Gotcha.
Now, my advice to the girls that are going into school and coming out and looking for their place is find yourself a good mentor. It's hard to find sometimes.
Move to Alamucci.
Yes, I come to the Petite Aesthetician. But it's hard to find those people. I have found in my career that I ran into the goods and the bads.
Sure.
And I took from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's how I'm creating this world that I'm creating within my own business. So if it doesn't work out for you the first time, just leave. It's okay.
Sure.
Be nice and give them notice and things like that.
Right.
But like,
Don't burn bridges, but keep moving on.
Find where you fit.
Nice.
It's so important too, because then you're going to be excited to learn. I have a group of girls that when I train them, this is my first group of girls that I've ever spoken to that are like, I'm listening.
I see. I've been around you guys
And I'm
quite
like,
a bit. I've seen it.
And it's such a special thing that I created that space for them because that was my goal.
Awesome.
Is to create this, I guess I'm a millennial boss. And I talk about this a lot with Stephanie, who owns the hair salon in the mall.
Stephanie, yeah, she's awesome.
At Allure Artistry.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it often that like I want to create this space where somebody can come in and just grow and be happy and not feel like they're gonna go home and carry any sort of anything with them. I want you to do your job when you're here, and I want you to be present when you're here. But I also want you to feel like safe and happy when you're at home too.
Right.
Like you don't. So it was so important for me to create that space for myself and for other people.
Well, we were talking in the kitchen. You kind of blur the line between work and home life, or play, call it, and like you're helping these girls. I feel blur that line in a healthy way. Like I don't think there is work-life balance. I think the best way to go about it is it's just all balance. And you're creating that safe space of where they probably don't feel like they have to go to work too much. Like
Emily, my little Emily, she's been with me since she was my first girl, and gosh, I can't say nicer things about her. She said to me one time, she was like, I feel like I have such a great work-life balance that I don't feel like I need to take days off to, take a day and just, not have to worry about it. She's like, I just don't mind coming to work.
Right. It minimizes the mental health days because you're stretching it all out.
I do build in mental health days every day, every now and then.
Of course.
Girls.
Of course.
I'll be like, all right, this is.
Right. Everyone needs them from time to time. But I don't know. You're just like shaving down the rough boundary between work and not work.
This is what we have to do, right? We have to go to work.
Exactly.
We have to go to work every day, right? Because we need to live.
Mm-hmm.
why do I have to be so miserable when I'm doing that? You don't.
You don't. It's
It's
a choice.
And you have to make that choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you either need to take the steps and totally remove yourself from the situation that you were in before.
If it's not the right situation.
And find that life. Or you make that little life within wherever you are. It's all about perspective.
Perspective. I think that's actually what one of the chapters was about. An obstacle is the way this morning. It all comes together.
Yeah. I think it's just so important for my employees to just be at ease when they're at work because then they're going to give better services.
Exactly.
And
you read my mind.
Yeah, they're going to want to, they're going to also want to help me out.
Yeah, go above and beyond. Like, scratch my back.
My girls know that, we work hard, but we play too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we work hard.
There's a respect.
We're there,
right.
yeah. And they know that I have certain rules and there's certain things that I want them to do. But then, yes, I give them their creative freedom. I let them decorate their own room.
I was literally just going to ask that, and that's so cool that you do.
Yeah, obviously we all have the same mirrors, same bed, all the stuff that we need.
Sure,
but
there's personality.
Yeah, I said, this is your room, so I want you to feel at home in here. So
awesome.
I give them the creative freedom with that. I also give them creative freedom with their Instagrams and things like that. I do want to make sure that they're not posting anything crazy.
Right.
But you go out there and you show yourself and you put yourself out there, and that's good. Yeah. That's great.
And as long as it aligns with the Petite Esthetician culture, which again, I've seen you guys together, you can see that you're all on the same page. Living that culture, so yeah.
Yeah, and I hired all of my employees off of a feeling.
Wait, you said you hired them off of a feeling?
Yeah, Emily.
There's something to that though. There's your
Emily,
whole life as an entrepreneur has been a feeling.
I worked by myself for 2 years. I was, kicking ass, taking names. But
when you first started, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
So from 2020 to 2022, I worked solo. I was the receptionist. I was the esthetician. I was the business owner. Everything. And I said, this is going to be a little much. I was cheating on myself and getting waxing services from Emily at a place where everybody wears red scrubs. I don't know if they wear red scrubs anymore. But her and I built this relationship over 6 months. And I was like, I think I really want to hire somebody. And I had no intentions to tell her I was an esthetician when I first started seeing her because I think that makes people nervous when somebody comes in. I'm an esthetician. Right. It's like, cool. But for some reason I wanted to blurt it out when I met her.
Felt right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 months go by, she's my waxer, and I say, I think I want to hire somebody. And she goes, I'd work for you.
Wow.
And I said, I go, I'm going to interview some other people, and but I would love for you to come in for an interview. She was the only person. I went home and I said to my husband, I go, I think I just found my employee. Right. I'm like, I think I'm going to take her from that place.
That's awesome. That's called fake it until you make it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So then Emily, she's been with me since 2022.
Cool.
And then Allie I interviewed a bunch of people, and that was my first time doing rounds of interviews and
find the right person.
Yeah. And it was tough to find the right person, but then she did come in and I was like, you're it.
Cool.
You're it. And then Lauren, she came in, she had a yin yang tattoo. She has one on her hand. And I looked at her and I said, this is going to be my girl. And I said, let me ask her a few questions first. Yeah. We chatted her passion for holistic skincare, her background and things that she can offer to us later down the road. I was like, nah, you're in.
Another feeling.
Yeah.
I love that.
And, I want to thank the universe for that or whoever, but I think that a lot of things are just feelings, and you just got to take a chance as a business owner.
Definitely.
Maybe I don't recommend that to everybody, but
no, it's the energy that you're putting out. It's coming back to you.
Yeah, I got a lot to say about that.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, I've been working a lot with energy, just like I guess everybody else, trying to find where we fit in this world, in this floating rock in the universe, and. It's been a crazy, crazy road for me, but I wholeheartedly believe that what you put out is what you get back.
Yeah, 100%.
I believe that if you surround yourself with positivity in here, out here, then that's dealing with things is just going to be easier.
Right.
So I go a lot off of feeling these days. A big thing happened last year. My father passed away, and it rocked my world.
Yeah.
It was sudden, so you don't have those chances to say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And it really changed my perspective on life. So I looked at this bad time in my life as that's what really, really bad looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So then when you move on through life and something silly happens, like my power goes out at work, the hell can I do about that?
Right.
Nothing. I'm not going to get that upset about that because I know what tragedy is. So then from that, I had to find these little moments in life, glimmers, if you will, to find my happiness. And finding those little parts of life that make me happy, whether it was gardening or going to yoga or just, I don't know, watching the wind blow through the trees.
Literally.
That created this whole world of beauty for me.
Definitely.
Which it became so much bigger than all of these really crazy things that have happened. And that's how I just kind of live life now.
Yeah, your perspective has shifted. Talking about perspective, it's crazy.
So much. And I think it made me a better businesswoman as well.
Absolutely.
I think, I mean, nobody has it all figured out and nobody is perfect. And I'm still working on myself.
But the thing about the lights going out, like you mentioned, like it's just reminding me of the Buddhist notion of letting go. Like you're letting go of the notion of control.
Dabble in Buddhism. College, I took a lot of world religions classes. Why? I don't know. I'm more of a spiritual person, but I like to know, and I like to know where it's all coming from. But I have gone to, most recently, it was probably like 6 months ago, my friend dragged me to this like Buddhist, it was supposed to be a meditation, but I was in a plastic chair, but I learned a lot.
Wait, this is that trip you took?
No, this was just like just a little something we did on like a Thursday night.
Oh, cool. But tell me more about this. What was it?
It was in Sparta, and it was like a Buddhist meetup. I don't know. It was marketed as meditation, but it was really more heavy on like talking about what Buddhism is and
just learning.
And learning, cool. And which I'm totally cool with. But yeah.
How was that? Like, what did you learn?
So a lot about letting go.
Mm-hmm.
A lot about our karma and how we're all here because we have similar karma in our past lives.
Cool.
And that's why we share this energy here today.
Cool.
So we're all just working our way up to this nirvana, which is very hard to get to.
Yeah. Which ceases the reincarnation, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
But it was interesting. I'm open to it. Once you get into any religion that deep, then it I don't know. I personally feel like it gets a little bit rigid, a little bit.
Yeah.
I like to be a little bit more.
Take from everywhere.
Because guess what?
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale. Understanding others, the other elements, and the other nations will help you become whole.
It's all coming from the same place. Like, they all have such similar...
Yeah, like the same main vein runs through them all.
I did my yoga teacher training, and
cool.
I'm so glad that I never bought one of these, but do you know what a mala is?
No, what is that?
Okay, so it's a beaded necklace. I'm sure you've seen it.
I've probably gotten Facebook ads for it.
It's a beaded necklace and a couple beads that hang down with a tassel.
Okay.
There's 108 beads on a mala.
Yeah.
So you go through and for meditation is you do 108 mantras.
Okay.
Or, you do 108 sun salutations, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, that sounds a lot like a rosary.
Right.
So we're all just...
Interesting. It all comes back together.
Yeah, we're all just, kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like, why don't we...
I love how you mentioned how deep you get into religion. Like, whatever that means, there is a line where it's like, if you pick any one too much, you're up to something.
There's a little something. Yeah, I would definitely coin myself as spiritual. I've gotten way more spiritual in the last year and a half. I from just my father passing away to then me just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing in this life, and then doing my yoga teacher training, like it just.
Do you think that trip that you did take, where was it again? I'm sorry.
I went to Costa Rica.
Do you think that played a lot into changing you? Can you speak to how the travel affected you?
Sure. So I went on a yoga retreat with 2 instructors from the studio that I go to, Serenity Yoga in Hackettstown. They have their own business where they put together these retreats. We went to Costa Rica and I've never... I guess I'm sheltered. So I've never seen people have nothing.
Yeah.
They have nothing.
Yeah.
But you know what they do have? I was going to curse. A smile on their face.
A smile on their face.
We were riding horses through the rainforest, and there was these little shacks on the side, and these two beautiful little girls, probably 4 years old, came out, and they were running and laughing, and they were so happy, and they're waving to us, and it's just like, they live in a shack, and they're so happy.
They're so happy, yeah.
And they truly live this Pura Vida lifestyle, which means pure life. And they ask you, how are you? And the response is, Pura Vida. And it's just like, wow, you guys really know what it's all about.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time there forgiving myself for a lot of things.
I love that.
Moving through my grief. And that trip was last January. It was almost a year to my father passing. And I don't want to say it tied things up, but it helped me so much. Yeah. I went with women I didn't know.
Cool.
I went with a group of women I did not know. And I went to another country with them. So
you just took a leap.
Yeah. I said, I got to do this. I got to do it. And it was so funny how it happened. My one very good friend, she lives right up the road from me. Who knew?
You didn't know when you took the trip?
We saw each other.
Yeah, sure. But...
One day she's walking her dog and I'm walking my dog. She says, hey, yells down the street. I go, what's up? She was like, I'm going to Costa Rica. And I said, okay. I was like, I'm thinking about going too. I just looked at the flyer yesterday. And she goes, I think you need to go. And I said, okay, I'll talk to my husband.
It's history.
So, and I went home and I said, babe, I think I'm going to go to a foreign country with people I don't know, but I think it's going to be really good for me. And he was like, I think you should go. And I signed myself right up.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
Another feeling.
I think people need to do things that scare the shit out of them.
Me too. Yeah. That's good thing I could edit it out. I'm not good at it. Yeah, doing things that scare the shit out of you.
Do things that scare you. That, this life is so fragile.
Mm-hmm. I
learned that too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spend time doing things that I don't want to do anymore. Right. I want to fill my life with all of the good things. Mm-hmm. That includes my business is a huge part of it.
Sure.
My family, my friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have time for anything else.
Yeah. like even watching the wind blow, like you mentioned before, it's just all the perspective change. Like that little girl is emitting true, authentic human happiness. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't know what she's missing, so to speak. And there's something to that.
Yeah.
There's something to slowing down.
I have immensely slowed down. I think it kind of started when I left my previous job and opened my business.
Sure.
Because I think that's a big thing I was looking for was just like happiness.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't crying on a Sunday night that I had to go to work.
When you go to work, yeah. You have to build from the bottom.
Yeah, and I think it started there, and it's been just such a journey. I've definitely learned how to let certain things go, or how to practice every single day. This gratuity,
right,
for this life.
It never ends. It's not like you wake up. I mean, you can do gratitude practices like writing and stuff, but it is a way of life, a mindset.
It's a way of life, and yoga has helped me do that a lot as well.
Cool.
Because yoga isn't just on your mat. It's not just in the studio. It's everything. It's the mindfulness.
Yeah.
It's the...
Tell them more, I mean.
It's the mindfulness. It's the slower life. It's the no harm to yourself and no harm to others. And it's calmed me down a lot when I have to deal with difficult situations because, listen, like I said, nothing's perfect. Sometimes I have to deal with certain things with clients or something like that. And now I know if somebody's angry, there's something going on.
It's a reflection on that.
It's a reflection of whatever. Right. And I can't get mad at you for that.
Sure.
There's a hard line if you cross a line.
Of course. Where you'll stand up for yourself.
Where I'll stand up for myself and call you out a little bit on how you're acting, but nothing bothers me anymore.
I love that.
Not I have to practice that every single day.
But you're always practicing it.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
Nothing because it's just not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Again, I know what a big deal is.
You've learned what a big deal is.
I've learned it.
And it's like you said, how it's on them. Like that's a reflection of them. You know the things that you can control, and that's your own, just the stuff you can
I
control.
can control me.
Yeah.
My happiness is within me.
Sure. Cool.
So.
It sounds like you went through a lot of different types of things get to that point.
So many things. I mean, it went to the fact I meditate all the time now.
Awesome.
I may as well be asleep. You know?
Can you? I'm so intrigued actually because I don't know a lot of people. I'll tell you mine. It's when weather permitting, I sit on the deck out there in that chair, or if I can't, I sit on the couch in there. Like, what is your?
You can meditate anywhere at any time. So my meditation, when it's not freezing cold in the morning, I walk with my dogs. That's a moving meditation.
Awesome. Yeah.
I do not take my phone. Could be dangerous when most phone. But it's
You're
just
disconnecting.
me,
It's
dogs.
mindful walking. Yeah.
I hear the trees blowing. I hear the birds chirping. So that's one constant form of meditation.
Awesome.
I'm always going to yoga. You can always find me meditating on my mat.
That's like part of yoga. It's like
that's just part of it.
Mindfulness and sport in one. It's awesome.
Otherwise, it's just wherever I can find like a peaceful. If it's in the shower, then it's in the shower. If it's when I wake up in the morning and I don't feel like opening my eyes real quick yet, it might be there.
You're taking these moments of presence, though, of mindfulness, of being here all throughout the day.
And this is what I wish I could tell everyone, because my goodness, once you get me going, I can't stop. But everybody always tells me, I don't have time.
Sure.
Okay. Listen, these kids have crazy schedules these days. I couldn't even imagine being a parent right now. No.
Sure.
Or somebody who has a high up job and has just like 1,000 things to do. You can find 5 minutes for yourself.
Yeah, it's all about creating the time.
It's all if you want to do it.
Right. It's how bad do you want it?
How bad do you want this?
Yeah.
I wanted it really bad.
Sure.
So I made sure that I did things to move towards that. But I run into a lot of people that, it's hard seeing so many people because of my job. Sometimes it's hard not to take on their energy. I'm a sounding board for a lot of people. Yeah. So my mission is just to help those people, like, maybe realize that small little thing that, like, oh yeah, like, I can stand in the shower and just like close my eyes for a minute.
Absolutely. Well, I think there's something to that in how I asked the question. My daily practice is a sit down meditation. But I have, because of this book here, Good Energy, been walking more. And I've been using that as a meditation. But when I asked you the question, I assumed that you were going to answer something like, yeah, I sit cross-legged on my couch too.
Yes.
But I love that you came back with, no, my main source of mindfulness, of slowing down, is I walk my dog, I don't take my phone. Boom. Like, you can learn so much about yourself with just that. How about bring a water bottle and your coffee, whatever.
Yeah. Or when you're driving home from work, don't have anything on.
I know. I'm really big into no music, or I do a lot of like lo-fi and stuff now.
That's probably great for people like you and I who like have to talk.
Yeah, right. Or think if we're alone. It's just like, because then it's just Japanese lo-fi beats in the background, and I'm just like, okay, podcast, stressful things work.
So funny. I find myself, I listen to my spa music all the time.
From work? Oh, totally. I love that. Yeah, I
just like playing in my house all the time. I'm like, oh, so you can. If you want to calm yourself down, you just pop on something.
It works. Like, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Or like, I use the Calm app, like something as simple as meditating with like a little rain, or like the river running, if you can't get a real river. Like, some
people need more assistance. They need somebody to walk them through the meditation, and that's where you can go to a yoga class or get that. Or my studio, I know this Friday they're doing a meditation workshop. So Shavasana, it's the final pose in your yoga practice. It's apparently the hardest pose in yoga.
Okay.
Corpse pose is the English word. Shavasana is the Sanskrit version. And you're supposed to be laying still, flat and still.
Right. That's the end of the practice. I've done a few classes, and that's how we always finish. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. That's the part that people have the hardest time with.
Okay.
Because they can't lay there and just be in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what's so important. And nobody's telling you that you have to throw away these thoughts, but I'm a very visual person in my head. So for me, when I'm in Shavasana or when I'm meditating or anything like that, I think I'm in Switzerland. I'm not sure. It's on top of a mountain. It's really green, but there is snow-capped mountains in the distance.
But that's like your visualization empty place, kind of?
That's my empty
cool.
place.
That's
There might
cool.
be a goat.
I don't think I have something like that. That's interesting.
I tell people, sometimes in the beginning of a facial, I try to put them into a meditative state. If they're super worked up and like you're
Sure.
coming in to relax, and I'm really going to try and get you there. So I might tell them like, find yourself in your happiest place,
Sure.
and I'll tell them whether it be in the forest walking with the trees, or at the ocean listening to the waves, or maybe it's just your happiest memory.
Mm-hmm. You sound like Professor Lupin teaching Harry how to cast the Patronus charm.
First time I wrote a
Sorry.
book.
It's not good enough, not nearly good enough.
Catch me doing motivational speeches.
Literally. Like,
So then when this thought comes through, like let's say I'm thinking about something from work, all of a sudden a basket pops up, I put the thought in there, and that basket floats away.
definitely.
And it's going to come back around. I'm
Definitely.
going to get to it, but guess what? I don't need to get to it right now, so why do I need to be thinking about it?
I love that visualization technique.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
might tell people if they have a hard time visualizing anything too, they could visualize themselves sitting next to a river. The river is constantly flowing.
Yeah, that one
Leaf.
I've done.
Yeah, the leaf is
That's
coming
been
and
guided.
going.
Yeah.
And yeah. So
Wow. It reminds me, a lot of the stuff that I learned, I get from the Daily Calm. Speaking
Yeah.
of ways to get into meditation and Glugavator, there's one every year because they repeat. Like now that I've been doing it for a couple of years, so I've done the Glugavator one a couple of times. I think it's an Icelandic word. I don't remember exactly what language, but it means window weather. And the way she explained it was exactly like you just explained it. It's so crazy with the baskets.
Mhm.
How the thought, how you can watch your thoughts like a storm passing by outside of, like you're in a house and you're looking through the window, and your thought is the cloud. And yeah, the thought comes up and you're watching it. It's creating that separation. That's what it's helped me with so much in my life is you have the thought, you notice you have the thought. It's not that you're not going to have the thoughts.
Yeah.
That never can happen unless
you're a Buddhist.
unless you're a freaking pro
Unless
or you're
you
dead.
are, yeah,
You're not
you
going to
are
have the...
up there. Nobody's there.
So the thoughts are going to come. You're going to identify, oh, I'm thinking again. Like I'm thinking about whatever was going to happen on where we're going for Thanksgiving. And then you let it go back to your Swiss mountains, in your case, and you just repeat. And that's all meditation is. Repeat that process
that's
forever.
all it is. If you can't, like, if you're really putting a lot of stuff in baskets, maybe you start thinking about, like, your breath.
Paying attention to something.
Paying attention to
Finite.
something that's in your space.
A candle flame, I've heard.
Yep,
I
a
haven't
candle
tried
flame.
that, but
If you're outside feeling the wind or feeling the grass, like bringing yourself to that very
Mhm.
moment.
And is that why the Daily Calm will often encapsulate body scans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Those are hard.
just told somebody that for their kid.
Cool.
Can't fall asleep, and I said, have you tried a body scan? I learned it in college. I took a meditation course.
Awesome. Yeah.
And she was like, no. And I was like, yeah, tell her to just start with her toes connect to her feet connect to her ankles.
Right. As she's laying in bed.
Yeah, as she's
thinking
laying
this.
in bed. And I go, she'll be asleep before she gets to...
That's cool.
her
I might try
arms.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to sleep a lot in that class.
He was like, okay, and then you do this. And you're like, okay.
I'm like, well, I don't know what comes after that, but...
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Meditation's a big part of my life. I think it should be a big part of everybody's life. I think we should be more present in what we're doing. I think there's so many things that take us away from that.
For
I'm
sure.
guilty. I get on my phone. I know it.
Well, that's the thing about there's no putting it back in the box that I want this channel to help promote is that it's a tool. Like, we're not sitting here saying only ever breathe and be like, sit
Do
in
whatever
nature.
makes you happy.
It's part of the world now. It's part of life. We have to accept that it is not going back in the box. So use it. And yes, like, we're all on our phone, like, but also don't forget that there's that little girl who the smallest thing can make her smile at any moment. And she
Yeah.
still exists on this earth, like, when,
Happily.
all the time there's people like that in the world. Happy, yeah.
Yeah. And I think here we're just so go, 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 especially in New Jersey. Like, even when I go see my mom down in Florida, like, everybody's a little bit slower.
Sure.
It's
Geographically, that culture changes drastically, you're saying.
Yeah. And everything's just slower. And nobody's in a rush.
Yeah.
And no,
I think
like,
that's because we're close to the city as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be waiting for something in line, let's say. And I never do. If I have to be somewhere, I'm not going to go do something that might, like,
Hinder that,
make
yeah.
me feel like I'm going to need to rush.
I stopped doing that as well.
Don't do that.
I stopped doing that. It's funny you mentioned that because I guess I never really noticed, but meditation kind of weeded that out of me.
Yeah. So if, like, I'm going to make an appointment for myself, I'm going to make it so I don't have anything going on afterwards. But
Right.
back to me like standing in line or something.
Sure.
And it happened to me. It was at Home Depot. I was getting paint or something, and the guy kept saying, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This will be done in a minute. This will be done in a minute."
To you.
To me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I go, "Sir, I have nowhere to be. It's
Right.
okay. It's okay." I like had to put my hand on the table. I go, "It's okay." And he goes, "Okay." And
Yeah.
I was like, "All
Solve the
right."
problem on your own time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was just me giving my little kindness out to somebody, being like, "Just slow down."
Right, you can take a breath, man.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
not
because he's so
mad.
used to the percentage of people who will be in front of him being like,
Excuse me, I have to be somewhere. And it's like, well, then maybe you shouldn't be here right now. Like,
exactly. Like, and that's, I hate to always bring it back to this, that's ego. Like, you're not the main character. You shouldn't have scheduled it like this. Like,
nobody's the main character. Check your ego out the door.
yeah.
You know,
And they'll get mad about that. Like,
yeah. Speaking of ego, that's something I tell people all the time with yoga. They're like, oh,
How
I'm
so?
so scared to
How
come
did
to
they
yoga. Because you learn to let go of your ego. Ain't nobody there to judge you.
Sure.
You're the only one judging yourself.
Sure.
We are all there sweating,
Mhm.
breathing,
That's,
just trying to hold a pose. I could care less what the person next to me is doing. So you check your ego.
it's so interesting how that portion of fitness has that. I don't think any other portion of fitness has that sense of like very small judgment or like acceptance and again presence. Like we're here to exercise, but we're here for something else.
Yeah.
And yeah, I should do more yoga.
It's so wonderful.
Seriously, like-
It's so wonderful. I can't say nicer things about it. I'm hoping I have to send some information over to somebody that's helping me out, but I'm trying to start like a once a month yoga class at the fire department in Alamuchi
Cool. That you would host.
that I would
Oh,
I
so
would
cool,
host. It would be all levels welcome because that's a big thing with people. They're like, well, I've never done it before. And it's like, well,
Of course.
yoga can be as hard or as easy as you want to make it.
For sure.
So
I feel like it's hard at the beginning, and then as you get better, it's still hard.
it's still hard.
And it's
Yeah,
kind of the
there's-
point. Like,
Exactly. I go into class and I'm like, how does my body feel today?
right.
Am I going to be hitting these arm balances?
Right.
Or am I going
But
to
it's
pull back?
in your
a little bit?
control, and that's mindfulness in itself. You're
Mhm.
listening to your body. You're
Mhm.
you know,
I don't have to be the bendiest girl in class to prove a point.
right.
Like I'm there for me.
You're here for
So
one reason: your
yeah.
body and your mind. Like,
so if my body tells me like, hey girl, your
Yeah.
shoulder's a little twingy today, maybe don't hit that.
right.
And I won't.
That can't hit that pose. Like,
No.
things.
And I never worry that somebody looks at me and says like, oh, why isn't she doing this? Or how is she doing that? Or why is she using her blocks? Blocks are a big thing in yoga and their support
Sure.
for adjustment. And like people don't want to use them. And it's like, use them.
Mm-hmm.
Your alignment gets better.
Yeah.
And then your practice gets
and
better.
maybe that,
and then you
like-
can hit those things.
I don't want to use the block again. Is ego. Like,
Ego.
Just use the block.
No, like,
If you have to. Like,
yeah, I'm a big block fan.
I got into yoga. This really fits into the whole becoming player one thing. Is We Fit was really instrumental. Have you heard of We Fit?
Yeah.
In
Never
my
played, but I know.
fitness journey, like two things: We Fit, and I had a really good friend who was like into the gym, and that was what brought me into the world of caring about my body and health. I guess like
I've never been healthier present day, and I'm sure you feel like
yeah,
this-
I think I feel the same way.
Yeah, just like doing all of the right things for my body because this is the only one we have.
Mm.
We should be so much nicer to it.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time with people like, I mean, I'm in the business of trying to make people feel better, but like I want to remind people too, like embrace your body,
Mhm.
love your body.
Mhm.
These legs carry me every single day, and I know that there's certain people that their legs can't.
Sure.
So why are we so hard on it? Why are we so hard on ourselves
Yeah.
and what our bodies can achieve?
Yeah, we're so willing to go out of our way for others, like maybe in our work and then forget about home base. Like, what's
I just said to somebody the other day, I said, you got to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
You have to.
right.
And I think that has gotten me feeling and I've done a lot of things to feel this healthy. I cut out the processed stuff and look at everything I eat now.
Mhm.
I don't drink anymore.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my healing journey and my feeling good overall.
Yeah.
I know what happiness feels like, and drinking doesn't do that for me.
Sure.
So you let that go, and then you start to look at all the other things that you do. You're like, huh, maybe I should tweak this or do that. And I work out 5 times a week now. And like, I would have never done that before. And it just feels so good.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a vicious circle of like, you get what you put in. It's all science. It's your cells of your body are going to respond based on what you give them and how you treat them.
I think that that's how, like, I just want to tell people, like, it's so good over here.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. And nobody's asking you to commit to, like, something huge, but, like, these little things are just so good.
Well, it's all these, that reminds me of Atomic Habits, because whether it's like one single habit that you're building, it's an atomic habit. It's tiny decisions on top of tiny decisions that go into, now I drink water or whatever. Like there's a process to that. But at the same time, feeling good is atomic habits. It's like drinking water, exercise. And the hard part, I think, about getting into it is a lot of people tend to look at it from that more zoomed out point of view of like, boom, this pillar, that pillar, this pillar, that, like, there's no way you're ever you can't tackle it like that. And it's human nature to think about it like that. But
fast. It's quick.
Gratification, instant gratification.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the obstacles the way. Like, the delayed gratification exists for a reason. If it's worth it, it's not going to be easy.
Exactly.
So you have to start somewhere. Like, again, you can't look at all the pillars all at once. You've got to take one bite at a time. Like,
I 100% agree with that.
dig in.
And that's why people don't do things, because the big picture looks so scary.
It's scary,
there's so many things that they have to do. And it's like, take your time.
Right. No one's
Take
rushing.
your time.
You're not the main character. No one's pressuring you. Like, it's take care of yourself.
Take care of
yourself. Because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. And that's the most important part.
Yeah.
That is. Something was going to circle me into aesthetics, but I can't remember what it was.
Back into.
Yeah, it was something we were just talking about, and I lost it.
There's got to be an episode 2, because I have the same thing. I'm like, oh, we got to touch on that. Oh, we got to, like, we can't talk about everything tonight.
Yeah. It was something. I don't remember what it was now.
We're talking about yoga. We're talking about mindfulness. Talking about the pillars of health, aesthetician.
Nah, it's gone.
All right, I tried.
Little stone brain's gone.
Let me take a quick look here. I would love to hear this. For the skincare novice, getting back to aesthetics.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so we were talking about looking at something as a big picture and like being afraid to do it.
Sure.
Okay, so people might have a misconception that like when they're getting into skincare that they have to do it all. And it's like, some people are out there promoting 10-step skincare regimens.
Right.
Simple's better, in my opinion.
Right.
If you come in and you're like, Amanda, I want my skin to look and feel its best at whatever age this person's at.
Okay.
And I say, okay, what's your regimen like right now?
Right.
I wash my face when I can. I moisturize sometimes. That person's going to be scared to death if I tell them, okay, so you're going to moisturize, you're going to do this, So what I do is I say, start simple. Start with your cleanser, moisturizer, SPF for the morning. At night, cleanse, moisturize. Keep it like that. Sure. Once you can get yourself, you're like, this is my routine and this is what I do every single day.
Build that base.
Then we can talk about adding things in for specific concerns. So let's say that this person is concerned about, premature aging, fine lines. There's other things we can add in. So great, Sally, you're now doing your regimen every single day. Why don't we add in a vitamin C serum?
Right.
That's going to target your fine lines. It's going to help your SPF work better. It's going to,
And that's when you can start, experimenting, like seeing what works, what doesn't work, what you need.
Skincare is very trial and error.
Yeah.
I can tell you what this product will do for your skin, and I will probably be 95% correct.
Yeah, but skin is temperamental. Like, it's everyone's different. Like,
everybody's different. we won't know until you use it regularly what it's going to do.
Yeah.
So I say for that first timer, talk to your esthetician, find out what your skin type is, because a lot of people buy products that aren't appropriate for their skin.
Sure.
And then just start small.
Right.
Start small,
like you said,
build that habit.
Small structure.
Yeah. And it'll make you so happy because then your skin will be moisturized and hydrated. And guess what? Even without that vitamin C serum, those fine lines, they're going to start to plump up. They're going to be a little less noticeable. Yeah. And you're going to feel better about that. And, inevitably, we're all aging.
And you got to fall in love with that.
You have to. There's, do I get Botox? Sure. I like that.
Yeah, but you can't. You
But
get
I
the
can,
fact that-
but like if I'm relying only on products and things like that, like
right.
we have to know that like we're not going to look like we did when we were 25 years old.
No way. There's just no way.
And
no way
but
to
guess
do
what?
that.
Those lines, they're happiness, they're
Right, their
stories,
experience. Yeah, I love that.
they're your life.
Yeah.
That's your life story. And it's okay. If you want to go get Botox, go get the Botox. If you
Right.
want to get the facial, get the facial. If you want to just do skincare, get the skincare. All of it's going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
But we're all aging, and that's the
100%.
bottom line
And
truth.
then underneath all of that is all the other self-care that you are so passionate about, from whatever, hydration, fitness.
Yeah.
And then, again, you build on top of the base. And maybe that's how you get to that 10-step skincare routine, because you've been doing it for 5 years and you know what, you know.
Yeah, you're like, this is exactly what it's works.
And that's experience, that's mastery. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
It all comes, but it takes practice.
Yeah, practice.
It takes mindfulness.
Yeah, and it's a daily grind.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I think that got me leaning into the health world is like, well, because I had that entrepreneurial spark in me or whatever that you share, is like, I kind of realized it's almost non-negotiable. I have to get this machine up and running in all these different categories so that I can do what I want to do, which is whatever, make videos, take pictures, who knows? It's what I'm doing like all the time, but if you don't take care of home base first, it's going to be really hard to do all that hard stuff. It all comes back to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, no
for being
problem.
here. Yeah.
This was so great.
I had a good time. Yeah.